Okay, folks, buckle up because we're about to get biblical. We're diving deep into some ancient wisdom that might just blow your mind. Specifically, we're diving into Leviticus 25, which talks about something called the Year of Jubilee. This isn't just some old dusty rule, it's a revolutionary concept. This wasn't your average kegger, it was a societal reset button the Israelites hit every 50 years. Imagine hitting pause on all your problems and starting fresh. Think of it like a divinely mandated cleanse for their entire economic system. Land was returned, debts were forgiven, and everyone got a second chance. Now, you might be thinking, John, why are we talking about ancient farming rules? Well, stick with me. There's more to this than meets the eye. The Jubilee year was designed to address some big issues: crushing debt, generational poverty, and oh yeah, slavery. Sound familiar? These are issues we still grapple with today. It's like the writers of the Bible peeked into 21st century America and said, yeah, we've got a chapter for that. The Year of Jubilee offers timeless lessons on justice, equality, and compassion. The Jubilee year was all about three things: forgiveness, freedom, and fairness. Firstly, all debts were forgiven. That's right, wiped clean. It was like a divine get-out-of-jail-free card for anyone drowning in debt. Next up, freedom. Indentured servants were set free. This wasn't just about releasing people from labor, it was about restoring their dignity and giving them a chance to start fresh. And finally, fairness. Land that had been sold due to hardship was returned to its original owners. This prevented families from falling into permanent poverty and ensured that wealth wasn't concentrated in the hands of a few. So, how does this ancient tradition relate to modern America? Well, let's just say our economy could use a good jubilee right about now. We've got student loan debt that could fund a small country, a wealth gap wider than the Grand Canyon, and let's not forget about the millions struggling to make ends meet. It's like we're living in a perpetual pre-jubilee year with the same problems repeating generation after generation. While we might not be literally selling ourselves into servitude anymore, the crushing weight of debt and lack of opportunity can feel pretty darn close. Section 4, Jubilee in the USA. Hold your horses, Moses. Now, before we all start demanding a debt jubilee and free land, let's pump the brakes a little. The idea of a debt jubilee where all debts are forgiven sounds like a dream come true for many. But, as with most things that sound too good to be true, there are significant complications. Implementing a modern-day jubilee in the US would be like trying to parallel park the Titanic in a bathtub. Messy, complicated, and likely to cause a lot of screaming. Imagine the chaos in the streets, the confusion in the markets, and the sheer logistical nightmare of it all. First off, the US economy is built on debt. From student loans to mortgages, credit cards to business loans, debt is woven into the very fabric of our financial system. It's not just a part of the economy, it is the economy. Forgiving all debts would be like pulling the rug out from under the entire financial system. The sudden removal of this foundational element could lead to a collapse, much like a house of cards tumbling down. Banks, businesses, even your grandma with a savings account, everyone would feel the impact. The ripple effects would be felt far and wide, affecting every corner of the economy. And then there's the issue of land redistribution. While it sounds great in theory, in practice, it would be a logistical nightmare. The process of determining who gets what land and ensuring it's done fairly would be incredibly complex. We're talking about mountains of paperwork, endless bureaucratic red tape, and countless logistical challenges. The sheer scale of the operation would be daunting. We're talking about potentially displacing millions of people and businesses, uprooting lives, and causing widespread disruption. The social and economic upheaval would be unprecedented. Not to mention the legal battles that would erupt faster than you can say eminent domain. The courts would be flooded with cases, and the legal system would be stretched to its limits, trying to sort out the mess. Section 5, Conclusion. Could Jubilee work? It's complicated. So, could a modern-day Jubilee work in the US? This question is more complex than it might initially seem. The answer, my friends, is a resounding maybe. There are numerous factors to consider, from economic stability to social justice. While the principles of debt forgiveness, economic equality, and a fresh start are undeniably appealing, they touch on deep-rooted issues in our society. The practicalities are, shall we say, daunting. Implementing such a system would require navigating a labyrinth of financial regulations and societal norms. However, that doesn't mean we should just throw in the towel. The idea of a Jubilee year can inspire us to think creatively about solutions. The Jubilee year offers a powerful reminder that our economic system isn't set in stone. It can evolve and adapt to meet the needs of the people. It's time to have a serious conversation about how we can create a more just and equitable society, one that works for everyone. Even if it means shaking things up a bit, innovation often comes from challenging the status quo and thinking outside the box. After all, if the ancient Israelites could handle a little economic upheaval every 50 years, it shows that change is possible and can be managed. Surely, we can handle a little change, right? Embracing new ideas and adapting to new circumstances is part of our growth as a society.